So the latest MKBHD iPhone 15 Pro video had one of the best intros yet.
I am the one that optimum. I got the drum, I got the drop on 'em. I got
the music, the smooth shots,
for the block they knocking on. Action chin, look at the crowd, the way they packed in tin. Lone wolf here to hell with a packed in din.
and this simple yet impactful hand-drawn animation, which is actually really easy to do yourself. I got so excited about the animation that I recreated it, shot for shot, and I'll show how you can do it too, using Procreate on the iPad. Before we do any animation though, we need to first shoot our product shots because we're going to be drawing directly on our product video footage. And this is where I ran into a small problem. Kinda two small problems. First, I don't have a fancy red camera with a robot arm to get all these motion controlled smooth shots like the MKBHD Studio has. But ironically, I do have the iPhone 15 Pro Max, which has great video stabilization and pretty decent cameras, so I thought I'd try my best with this. I actually shoot and edit almost all of my videos entirely on the iPhone anyways, so it's a good example of how you can use the tools you have available to you. But that brings us to our second problem. If I'm shooting with the iPhone, what do I use as a product in the shots, as the subject of the shots, like the iPhone in the MKBHD intro? I was gonna have to improvise. Since this video is mostly focused on the animation style and not the fancy video footage, I hunted around the apartment for something to use instead. I thought about using a hard drive since it's also square, but it doesn't have as many features to highlight with that hand-drawn animation style in the same way the MKBHD team does with the iPhone. So I grabbed this. A calculator. Haven't used it in years. I used a little bit of putty to stick the calculator to my little camera arm that attaches to my desk. I use this arm in all of my top-down tutorial videos, super cheap on Amazon, and it worked pretty nicely as a rig to suspend our product, the calculator, in the air. You honestly don't need any of this stuff to do it yourself, just nice product shots with a clean background, nice lighting. I'm not even gonna bother painting out the arm. As you can see, I'm just trying to go shot for shot in as scrappy as a way possible. Okay, we have our video footage. I literally just held my iPhone as steady as I could. In one shot, I set it up on my skateboard to get that nice side dolly shot. I trimmed the shots down and lined things up as best I could in my favorite video editing app, Vlow, and then I exported that video and used CapCut to combine the original MKBHD footage with my footage just so that I could reference the original footage while I was animating. I actually jumped back and forth between those two video editing apps a whole lot. Okay, now we're gonna jump into Procreate. Come up here to import your first shot. If your video footage is saved to your Files app, click Import. But if it's just saved to your camera roll, click Photo. I know that's kind of counterintuitive. Import your first shot. Make sure your shot isn't too long. Procreate currently has a layer limit, but sounds like that might be changing in the near future. I ended up recutting the video back into their individual shots and then animating them separately in Procreate because of that layer limitation. It sounds complicated, but it's really only because I'm being stubborn and I wanted to go, again, shot for shot and reference every frame. And the fact that Procreate currently only has one single timeline or animation layer instead of multiple asynchronous layers. Fun side note, in November, Procreate is releasing a new animation app called Procreate Dreams, which will solve that problem entirely. Okay, you've imported your video, make sure the animation assist timeline is turned on, come up here, go to Canvas, and toggle on animation assist. Now each of these squares at the bottom here represents the individual frames of your video, and you can scribble on top of each one. Now pick a brush and draw. It's as simple as that. Do a little on one frame, move to the next one, do a little more, test it out, click play. You can always undo and adjust. There's a feature here where you can turn on onion skins, which allows you to see a shadow of your previous and future frames. It helps as a reference, but sometimes with video footage, it can be hard to see. My animations ended up taking me way longer than I expected. I hadn't considered that these are all shot at 30 FPS, 30 frames for every second of this intro. I had to draw on hundreds of frames of video footage. I personally prefer animating at 12 frames per second because it takes less than half the time, and in most cases it actually makes the imperfections and the jitter of your drawings look a little smoother. It has the opposite effect on film footage, so that's why 24 and 30 frames per second is more ideal. Okay, obviously I had to get scrappy and I couldn't do the animations the exact same. This is a calculator, not an iPhone, but I did my best. So another thing that I did slightly different is the brighter white color of my brush. The original video was either a bit more dull or slightly transparent. It works fine though because the phone is fairly dark. My calculator though has some light gray, so I kept my white brush at full opacity to make sure there was some contrast. Alright, when you're happy with the animation, come up to here, go to share, and choose animated MP4. You're going to keep the frames per second the same as how the video footage was imported. Click export, choose save video to your camera roll or save to your files. And now you've got a cool product shot with some added hand-drawn animation on top that you could use as is or edit together with some other shots. And here's how mine turned out.
I wouldn't say I love it, but I can appreciate it more.
I am the one that optimum. I got the drum, I got the drop on them. I got the lock, stock, and barrel on top of them. I got the chopper for the block, they knocking off. Action chin, look at the crowd, the way they packed in tin. Lone wolf, here to how, where the packed in din. Easy crack in, then shooting off of the mouth like that.
Comment below what I should animate next, and I'll show you my approach. And subscribe so you don't miss it. Alright, that's it.